Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Keisha. Oh, I'm so happy to have you. On this channel, we do fashion, beauty, lifestyle, nursing, and anything that I choose to put out there. So guys, in today's video, I am just going to give a brief update post myomectomy. And I just thought that, you know, as a woman, having had this procedure, to come and just let you know, some of the things that I would have encountered while I'm at home recovering, and more so, it probably would help to enlighten someone else, the next woman who are hoping to have this said procedure. So if this is a video that you're interested in, why not stay with me? Or if not, bye. Yes guys, so let me just say, I would have dropped down a few things, even though it's something that would have happened to me, and yes, I would remember, but just to stay on track and not to go off course of what I'm talking about. Those of you who are planning or hoping to have a myomectomy, I'm just gonna just briefly update you on some of the things that I would have encountered. And guys, this is just personally to me, just to let you know that everyone recovers differently and in their own timing. So it's not necessarily mean that what I would have encounter would happen to you, but it's just a bit of guideline, because I mean, as I said, everyone recovers differently. So I haven't watched the two previous video, part 1 and 2, go right ahead and feel free to watch my journey, what I would have encountered, reasons why I would have decided to take a myomectomy. All right, so this video, as I said, I'm just gonna give you a post update myomectomy. So I'm basically 25 days post myomectomy, and yes, I'm actually at home recovering. I'm doing well. So in this, I'm just going to go through some of the things. So in terms of the topic, the areas that I want to talk about specifically. So pain, I'm going to talk about pain, rest, activity, medication, let's say wound healing, in terms of the procedure itself, in terms of my abdominal area, in terms of like bleeding, and so on and so forth. So first area that I'm gonna talk about is pain. So pain is basically my pain coming home. It was not on a scale of 1 to 5. I would say it was probably like, so 1 being the least, 5 being the greatest of pain. So I would probably grade my pain probably about 2.5, thereabout. So I would have been discharged on pain medication, and for me, paracetamol do justice. So I didn't have to take. I was discharged on paracetamol, tramadol, diclofenac, and pain medication. So paracetamol did justice for me. Intermittently, I would have used a bit of diclofenac. So, but my pain was not bad. But generally, I had a bit of this abdominal discomfort. So my pain, as I said, I would grade it about 2.5. So again, my pain would not necessarily be the way your pain is. As I said, everybody pain threshold is different. So so pain, one thing you have to look out for is a bit of pain. Yes. So once you have your pain medication, even if sometimes you have like slight pain, you still need to take your medication, right? In terms of comfort, coming home at first, I was like wondering, boy, how am I going to like literally function in terms of comfort? Because I know I had a bit of bloating even before I had the procedure done, and after the procedure I still had a bit of bloating. So the comfort, basically, I had to find ways how to dealing with that, adjusting with that, especially sitting down. I had to adapt like ways of how I'm gonna sit, especially sit down in the chair, how am I gonna get in and out of bed. So, and everything I had to do very slowly and gently, because the last thing I wanted to do in my head, I didn't want like think about I'm gonna rupture something. So I had to be extremely gentle, easygoing with when it comes to comfort, getting in and out of bed, sitting in the chair, getting up, walking, looking at my steps. Yes. So my discomfort or your comfort level, it's all about you. And yeah, so one thing I would say, make sure that whatever you're doing, you make sure that you do it with caution. All right. Another thing, you have to make sure that you guard up mostly from becoming constipated. So I would have had gotten laxative to bring home, but it's very important that you drink a lot of fluids, because one of the things is you don't want to get bound up. So I mean, for me it was pretty fine, so I tried my best to drink adequate amount of fluids, especially water. Also moving, you have to be moving. You don't want to lie down in bed all day, so that again you have to take into consideration. Even though yes, as I mentioned with pain, you're gonna have pain, but then one thing you have to make sure, you want to try to move as much as you can, at least be a little active, not too much to overwhelm yourself, but make sure that you try to be as active as much as possible. All right, so like for me, I was at least doing that at least twice a day, walking in, and because where I'm living, I have a long corridor, so at least I walk the multiple up and down trips, covering the whole circumference of my corridor. So for me that was fine. And also there were some exercises that they would have given me, so I actually practiced those as well, even when I'm lying down in bed. So exercise, at least that gentle exercise is very important in terms of walking. And one of the greatest benefits of making sure that you keeping active is to at least to help to prevent or help to decrease the risk of developing a blood clot. All right, so it's important that you exercise, you walk to decrease that risk of developing a blood clot. They would have given me some anticoagulant medication, some injections where I would have to take home with me. Oh my God! Even though I'm a nurse, I was so dreading those injections. Oh my God, they sting a lot. But obviously, once you constantly having to give yourself, have someone to give you that injection, the stinging that comes behind it. So I had to take some anticoagulant, which is called enoxaparin, or most of you would know it's called Clexane. So I had to have that like twice a day on my tummy, or on my the areas where you have like lots of fat, where that medication can be absorbed. And obviously, as I said, it's just to help to prevent the risk of developing a blood clot. And as I said, mobilization, or early ambulation is very key when it comes to that. So you take into consideration your pain, your comfort level, making sure that you take your pain medication, making sure that you take your anticoagulants, which is very important, and making sure that you move to keep active. You don't want your bones to get seized up. You just want to, keep things how it ought to be. All right. Also, I had to take antibiotics. I'm not sure if all of the surgeons or the gynecologists would give you take-home antibiotics, but in my case, I needed to have some antibiotics, and I make sure that I take my course of antibiotics again, because to minimize the risk of it was more of like prophylaxis to prevent the development of any infection thereabout. So antibiotics I was given. Another thing that for me, again, as I said, this is specific to me. Another thing, I would have experienced a bit of, for 2 weeks, I would have experienced a bit of vaginal bleeding, to say the least. Yes. I think that's one of the, if you normally have a bit of vaginal bleeding, it wasn't like really heavy, but it was just like more or less cleansing. Yeah, so obviously that it wasn't too bad. I would not, exaggerate on that, but just to know that you would have a bit of that. Also, I would have experienced like cramping, like I'm feeling like my tummy, like whatever it, oh my god, like cramping sensation, like in and out, some like squeezing sensations. And ever so often I would have a bit of mild abdominal pain. Obviously it's expected because I would have had a general procedure in my abdominal area. So that's another thing that you probably will experience, but for me, I would have experienced that, and I was able to do the exercises that I was taught by my physiotherapist, and I incorporate those exercises to help me to be in a comfortable position depending on where you get your cut. For me, I had a vertical cut just below my umbilical area. If you have the transverse, the horizontal cut, that's like the bikini line, again, it's different for everyone. So the main thing, one of the things you have to make sure in terms of your dressing, make sure to monitor that dressing. Like for me, my dressing, I had glue, but just before I was discharged from hospital, there was a small area that was kind of oozing a bit, so I had a little dressing. And then obviously when I went back for my follow-up, I had my dressing redone. So making sure to keep that wound area clean and dry at all times. And also the dressing that they would have given me, it was water resistant. So yes, of course, I could have had my shower and make myself fresh and comfortable. So that without a doubt was not a problem. More or less the last thing, obviously I would have had a post checkup with my gynecologist, and that went very, very well. So on that day, what we would have done, I would have had bloods taken, so they would have checked my globin level or my HB, as we say, to make sure that it's within the normal range. And I would have had some urine samples, and also post check ultrasound to make sure that everything is fine. And my wound, make sure that my wound is checked, clean and everything, and to make sure that everything is just fine and everything is where it actually ought to be. And I must say, I am feeling so happy that my doctors, and even also one of the thing is, guess what, from the sample that they would have taken out from the fibroid, obviously they have to take that to the lab and run tests on that to make sure it's non-cancerous, and my result came back negative, which obviously I am happy about. And yes, so that's one of the things when they remove anything in terms of like fibroids and so on, they normally check it to make sure that it's not cancerous. So yes, my result, my histology report, it came back negative, and I was that's very that's very good news, and I'm very happy about that. So overall, as I said, everyone recovery, it's quite different, and everybody's going to recover at different time, different speed. So my encouragement is just to make sure that you drink a lot of fluids, you make sure you ambulate. Early ambulation is key. You monitor for any signs of deep vein thrombosis or any signs of blood clots. You make sure to take your pain medication. You make sure to take, if you're discharged on anticoagulants, blood clot medications, make sure to take that. Don't miss it. Please make sure to take that. Monitor your wound for any signs of infection. And last but not least, in terms of your comfort, make sure you adapt comfortable ways of readjusting at home. And also, if you have help, utilize the help, the support from your family and friends. Don't have too much pride with that. And last but not least, make sure that you maintain your follow-up visits. And generally, it's just about rest and recovery so that you can get back into doing your normal routines of things. So guys, if this is a video that you're interested in, why not give me a big thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think in the description box, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that whenever I upload a video, you will be first to be notified. I hope that I did not bore you too much with all of that information, but guys, on a serious note, I know that this information will be more or less helpful to someone who probably are thinking about having their operation. All right, so good luck to whoever hoping to have the operation, and for those of you who would have had the operation, rest and recover, we know is very important. So bye for now, and thank you for watching.